So we are in the last Rocketpool Beta 3 Testnet. So before we install the before we run the validators, we need to first set up our server. So to set up the server, first you go to their any cloud service provider, you go to their website and create a virtual private server, and I personally prefer Ubuntu Linux as my preferred operating system. So after creating the server, you need to set up it, and to set up the server you log in to your server with root password from your local computer through Windows PowerShell. I'm having double boot operating system, but I don't want to touch my Ubuntu operating system on my local computer, as I use that for my Cardano node only. So through Windows PowerShell we can access our newly created cloud VPS. So what you need to create a server securely. So these are the 7 points I have sought out. First, you have to create a new user and log in with that new user for security purpose. The second point is disable root login. Third, change the default port 22 through which you SSH connection has been made. So you change it to any other port. So there is a specific SSH range. So you choose the SSH range is in between 1024 and 32767. So you can choose any port in between that. So I will write it over here. Range, SSH range. SSH range 1024 to 32767. So this is the range. You choose any port in between that. So the fourth one is, after that you use generate SSH key pair and log in only with that SSH key pair. For additional layer of security, you must install fail2ban, and another layer of security known as hardware key authentication, in which you put that hardware key in your local computer, and while accessing your cloud server it need to provide the authentication key from your hardware key in your local computer, then only you will be able to log in. And lastly, you need to set up the firewall setting necessary as required. So now let's log into our cloud server. I have my root login and password. So uh, default login is always root on any cloud servers, uh, any cloud service provider. So it will ask for the password. So this is first time you will see when logging your uh, cloud server, this message. You just accept it. Now type in the password. And we are logged into our cloud server. So now our first step will be to create a new user. So to create new user, so we check with who am I. Can see a root. Now since I am logged in as root, I do not need to change the login. But if you are already logged in as a Ubuntu user, any other user, so you can change it through sudo su. So I don't need that command. So we will type add user rocket. Rocket is our login name. We need to create a password. Provide the following details. So you can skip whichever thing you don't need to provide the details. Okay, now we have to give root privileges to the new user we have created. So this is the command. So we have given the root privileges. Now let's log in as the new user. So we are now logged in as the new user Rocket. Now check who am I. You can see Rocket. Now sudo who am I. It's asking for password. It's root. So the new user has been created. Now we have to do certain things. We have to change the root login. So So before doing that, first we will generate the SSH key pair first. Then we will disable the root login. First we will create the SSH key pair. Then we will disable the root login. So we just okay, one more thing you need to see over here, that you see the hidden folders over here. There is no folder named .ssh. Under the new user Rocket, with there is no folder .ssh. When we create the SSH key pair, we need to create the folder .ssh folder, so that we can pair it with our local computer. So that we will see now. We first exit. Now to generate the SSH key pair, what we have to do, first create the RSA key pair. So for that, simply type SSH keygen and you will be guided further. So SSH, I am still not logged out. I am in root user in my cloud server. One more time, exit. Yeah, now I am in my local computer. So type in SSH keygen on your local computer. So enter file in which to save. So by default .ssh folder will be created under my local computer user. So it will be done automatically, but if you need need to change the folder or RSA file name, you can also change that, but it is generally not recommended to change the default file name or folder name while generating the key pair for SSH. So we just skip all this. So enter. We need to create a password for accessing our key pair. So two files will be created, one ID underscore RSA and the other one will be ID underscore RSA public. We have two RSA key pair. So we type in password. Yeah, now you can see the RSA key pair has been created in my local computer. Now we have to pair this with our cloud server. So to do that, there are few methods to do that. So these are the methods. Copy the public key to Ubuntu server. First method is copy the using SSH copy ID, but this command will not work in Windows PowerShell. SSH copy ID. PowerShell does not support all the commands as in Ubuntu. So like when you are transferring the any file from your local computer to cloud server, SCP command will not work. So since I don't want to mess up with my local computer Ubuntu system, as I am having double boot operating system, so I am using this PowerShell on my Windows. So I usually prefer Ubuntu in my local system. So there are other methods to do that. So copying public key using SSH. So this is the command, it will work, and manually also you can do that. This is the command cat SSH ID RSA. If you type in over there, you can see the contents of the key. So if you type in this this public key that we have generated, you can see the key, contents of the key with this command, but we are not going to use this method manually. So just to show you, so this is the public key. So now, so these are the three methods you can do it. So we will use this method, copying public key using SSH. This is the command we will use. So Let's clear. So you can see over here this make directory. So this .ssh folder will be created under the user rocket in my cloud server. So just type in and click enter. It is asking for password of my cloud server. And we are done. So let's log in with our user SSH, not root. We will log in as user rocket. It is asking for our SSH key pair password that we have created. And we are done. We have logged in with user rocket directly from our local computer with SSH key pair. Now our next step will be to disable the root user and root login and password. We have to disable that and change the default port 22 through which we are accessing our SSH to some other SSH port, as I mentioned over here in the specific range. Here in this range we have to choose. So okay, now let's see the hidden files and let's check whether a new .ssh folder has been created or not. So we ls-a and you can see .ssh folder has been created. So you can check the contents. We use cd.ssh ls authorized keys. Now use nano, use sudo nano UTHORI. So you can see the RSA key over here. So this is the same key which we can get it by using the command, this command cat.ssh id _ rsapub in our local computer. So now we have to disable the root login and password. For that we go to etc, then SSH ls, then SSHD. We use sudo nano SSHD underscore con sudo nano SSHD underscore config, and here we have we need to change certain things. So we need to change the port port 22 to some other port. So okay, we will change the port later. First permit root login, we will change it to no. And we need to type in, when you are disabling the root login, you have to allow login to the user with this command, allow users, then rocket. So you can type in as many user as you want, but since we have only one user, we allow user rocket. Now we will go to password authentication. Password authentication. And we change it to no. And we choose our SSH port as we will choose 1234 as our port. So we are done. Then control O to write out or save it. Then control X. Now we have to restart the service. So To do that, we have this command sudo systemctl restart ssh. Now we will check the status. Yeah, now it's done. Now you can see it is listening to port 1234. So our default port has been changed and all the necessary settings to. So we are done with create new user, disable root login. We have changed the port. We have generated the SSH key pair. Now we will exit and log in from our local computer. So clear. So now if you try to log in with with user root, it won't work. You type in root as user, SSH root @ the IP address of your cloud server. Now you can see you won't be able to log in. So now try to log in with Rocket. Since we have changed the port, default port 22 to some other port, you have to add additional command -p then 1 2 3 4. This is the command you need in addition to get into your cloud VPS. So yeah, it's asking for password of your RSA key pair in your local computer. So it has been authenticated. Now we are logged into your cloud server with user Rocket and using SSH port 1 2 3 4. So now fail to ban is an additional layer of security which disable login attempts from IP addresses when it exceeds the certain number of attempts. So you can set that in your fail to ban settings, the number of attempts after which it will ban that IP, and for how much delay, that also you can also set. So we will install fail to ban now. So now we have completed 1 to 4. Now we are going to install fail to ban. It is an added layer of security to your cloud VPS. So sudo install sudo apt install fail to ban. So we are done. Now we go to the folder fail to ban. Yeah. Now we have to change the configuration setting of jail.conf. This one, jail.conf, we have changed that. So let's see what we have in that. But we are not going to change that jail.conf, because if we change the parameters in jail.conf, then while upgrading the Ubuntu packages, system packages, so this will be, so the settings in the jail.conf will also get changed. It will change to the default setting. So what we have to do, we have to copy and create another file named jail.local. So that will see that later. First see what we have in jail.conf. Okay, we have to use sudo. So here you can see we have to change few things. This ignore IP, this we have to change. You can put your local computer IP address over here so that it won't ban you under any circumstances, no matter how many wrong password you provide. And you can also change the ban time, find time, maximum retry. You can change all this as per your need, but by default 10 minutes is sufficient to reduce the login attempts from any hackers who is trying to break into your server. By 10 minutes with maximum retry 5. So So it is okay. And we have to change one more setting over here under SSHD. You have to enable this one. You have to enable that. So we will do all these settings. First we copy that sudo copy gel.conf to gel.local. So in this gel.local we are going to change the parameters. Ignore IP, you keep all these, and just after one give a space, then 192 dot if you are using on your local computer, if you are having if you don't have static IP, if you are having static IP, then type in your full IP address, then after that put so if you are having static IP in your local computer, then type in the full IP address with slash 32. Then no matter how many wrong password you provide, it won't ban you. But if you are having dynamic IP, then put 0 in the last digit of your IP address with 24 after slash. This is for the dynamic IP. So for details you can refer the IPv4 CIDR block CIDR blocks table on the Wikipedia. So now we are not going to change the ban time, find time, maximum retire. According to me, these are okay. So under SSHD, under port we have to change it to the port first we have to enable equals to true. Then change the SSH port to that we have created, and we are done with the fail to ban setting. So this is an added layer of security, so you can set up, then Control O, Control X. So now we are done up till here. So hardware authentication, which is one more added layer of security, and it is beyond the scope of this guide over here, because for that we can skip this for now, but you can I don't have my hardware authentication key with me, so I can't show you that. So now we go with the firewall settings. So on your cloud server through website, you just create your instance or VPS. Then through there, they also have firewall setting on their platform, but I prefer using UFW setting on through CLI. So we will type in, let's see, by default it is always inactive, so we will have to enable that. So we type in sudo UFW status verbose. So you can see it is inactive. So we will see the status of so by default you can see it is inactive. Now to set up the firewall for the Rocketpool last beta testnet, we have to enable these two ports, 30303 and 9001. So by default you can enable it first, or you can enable it after setting the firewall settings. So what we do, so sudo UFW deny default incoming. it is set by default, but we will set it again. And sudo default allow outgoing. So now we are going to first allow the ports. First we will allow the port that we have created, SSH port that we have changed. So 1234 is the ports we want to allow. So sudo ufw status verbose. Okay, it's still inactive. We will enable it after setting the rules. So it's just for security. You can first enable it and do accordingly, but for security I am setting the rules first, then I will enable it. So we will check that later. So 2 more ports need to be allowed. That is Rocketpool this 30303 and 901. We'll check it. 30303. Okay, we allow that. And 9001. Nine zero zero one. 9001. So we have defined the rules. Now we will enable it. Sudo ufw enable. So now we will check the status. Sudo ufw here you can see default deny incoming, allow outgoing, and required ports has been set 1234, our SSH port 30303 and 901. Now we are all set up. So we are completed all the 7 required steps to set up our server securely. Now in the second part we will see how to install the Rocketpool smart packages over here. This tutorial from Rocketpool by Jake for the node operators. The installation is Rocketpool smart node. We will see in the next part. So we are done. So we exit.